The Human Centipede. First sequence. During a stopover in Germany in the middle of a carefree road trip through Europe, two American girls find themselves alone at night when their car breaks down in the woods. That's a boring summary. Come on. I've heard of this movie. I've never seen it. I'm going to watch it here in a sec. It's about two girls who, and I think there's a third guy, but they get trapped in the lair of a mad scientist and they get sewn together ass to mouth. So they're person. A human centipede. Why is the mad scientist doing that? I have no idea. But if I had to guess, I would say he wants to enter in one of those sheep herding competitions like in the movie Babe, but he doesn't have a sheepdog, and he doesn't have a pig either, so he thinks, what's the next best thing? A human centipede. So he's going to kidnap three people and sew them together, and then he's going to, take them out into the backyard and set up an obstacle course and be like, whoosh, yeah! Around the little flag things and up over the teeter-totter and through the hoop. Yay! That's my guess. I also guess that only one will survive. And I'm gonna go for the middle one, whoever's in the middle. Because it's definitely not going to be the person on the ass end. Because if you think about it, the front end eats and then defecates into the second end, and that's not got a lot of great nutritional content. And filtering all the way to the third end, boy, you're really missing out. So the person on the back end's probably going to die of dehydration or malnutrition or infection. I think the one in front is going to die because I think there's going to be a big scene of the person in the middle ripping her lips off of someone's buttocks. And she's going to be missing her lips and it's going to be a bloody mess. And I think there's going to be like a cop or a neighbor, probably a cop, who comes to the mad scientist's house and is like, knock, 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 hey, can I come in and look around? And he comes in and looks around, and the human centipede is all, we've got to get the cop's attention so he'll save us, and it's a race to, can we get his attention? And he looks around and he just misses them and goes, well, you have a nice day now, and he leaves, just missing the human centipede. Oh, but he'll come back, and he'll find the evidence of what the mad scientist has been doing. He'll be like, oh my gosh, and the mad scientist will sneak up behind him and bop him on the head or stab him in the back or shoot him in the head or something like that. And the bad guy, the mad scientist, is going to die by falling from a high place, like a convenient cliff, or they're going to end up on the roof and he's going to fall off, and he'll land on a car or a spiky iron gate or in the pool or something. Those are my guesses. That's what I think's going to happen. So let's see how far off the mark I am. Okay. Well, 10 minutes into the movie, I wanted the two girls to die. Boy, were they annoying and stupid. I know stupid characters are a cliche of horror movies, but it's kind of hard to root for or care about characters getting out of a situation when you want them dead in the first few minutes of the movie. They're not bad characters as people. They're girls going out to a party, but they bicker with each other. They don't know how to change a tire. Folks, come on. It's a tire. You unscrew the lug nuts, you pull the tire off, you put the new on, lug nut. That's it. Unscrew, pull off, put on, rescrew. That's it. I mean, you do have to jack up the car. That's the hardest part, depending on what kind of jack you're using. But they're in a rental car. Maybe things are different in Germany, but go into the trunk where the spare tire is. there's instructions for how to change the damn tire and use the jack. I mean, come on. Come on. Basic premise, they're lost in the woods. They get no cell phone reception. They get a flat tire. And it's like, oh no, I don't know how to change a tire. Well, neither do I. Okay. Here's another little secret. You can drive on a flat tire. It doesn't kill the engine. The car will still move. Not many people know this. I mean, it's not good for your car, and you're not going to go that far. And they are, I guess, out in the backwoods somewhere. They might not get very far, but if you're that concerned about it, just drive. Just go slow. You're on a back road anyway. So they decide, okay, let's get out of the car and walk for help. Okay. And then the next scene shows them traipsing through the woods. So instead of getting out of the car and following the road, they head straight into the woods. Ah. And then they start bickering with each other. I'm cold and I'm tired and I'm going to stand right here. I'm not going to move. It's like, oh, I hope someone human centipedes you. So they wander around Dr. Heiter's house, and he makes no attempt to not be creepy. Are you alone? Come inside. It's like, boy, this just own it, man. So he drugs their drinks and drags them to the basement and says, okay, and then he kidnaps the third person. It's like, all right, I'm gonna stitch you all last to mouth to be a human centipede because why not? It's the motivation. Why not? Because I can. Worked for my dogs. That's right. I had 3 Rotties and I stitched them all ass to mouth and they died. So now I'm gonna do it with people. Because why not? So, he does, and this movie is not as gory as I thought it would be. I thought there would be blood and guts and poop and everything all over the place, and really, no, this movie is surprisingly not very graphic. And it's not really exploitative either. The 2 girls are, there's a guy and 2 girls in the human centipede, and they are wearing pretty much adult diapers with a bandage that extends across the diaper and around the back of the head that kind of holds their face in place. So they're all topless. But kudos to Tom Six and all the other folks for not going, boobs, look at the boobs. It's not sexualized. It's not exploitative like that. Which is kind of surprising and very laudable. The girl... So they're all downstairs strapped to their gurneys. And he says, okay, I'm going to, put you all to sleep now so we can start the operation. And while he's putting one to sleep, the girl suddenly gets the idea to try and pull her binding apart with her teeth. And it works. And I'm thinking, great. You've been there for at least a day, probably longer. Almost definitely longer. This is the first time you thought to pull your bindings apart with your teeth? Really? Maybe they were drugged the entire time. But anyway, she pulls the bindings off and she runs through the house. And we have a big chase sequence. And Herr Doctor kind of gets bored at one point and wanders off. So instead of running away, she goes back downstairs to try and rescue her friend, whom she knows has already been drugged to sleep. So she pulls her off the bed and starts dragging her across the floor, up the stairs, what had to have taken at least 20 minutes to drag her dead weight up the stairs and out the door, across the lawn, and then she gets shot with a tranquilizer dart. I think Dr. Heiter probably had a leisurely lunch, maybe went for a jog. I mean, I'm. It's nice that she went back for her friend. I mean, you know, friendship is magic and all that, but come on. She wouldn't have made it anyway. You know, even if she had just darted across the line, he still would have shot her with a tranquilizer dart. She wasn't going anywhere, but her best chance would have been to run. I mean, she had no chance, especially with the amount of noise she was making trying to drag her friend up the stairs. So, Dr. Heiter was not trying to enter a sheepdog competition, by the way. He just wanted to make a human centipede. But there is two scenes where he has them out in the yard and he's trying to train them with not a whip, but more like that short whip that you use with horses, a riding crop, kind of. And he's trying to teach him to heel and fetch a paper, so I was close. And here's the thing. How does the human centipede get upstairs? Is there an elevator? As far as I know, there's only stairs, and the human centipede's constantly up, and they're outside, they're inside, they're in the basement, they're on the first floor. Their little doggy kennel that they stay in at night is on the first floor, so I don't know how he's getting that thing up and down the stairs. The police do show up, and it doesn't happen exactly like I predicted. There's two cops, which is always nice. That's more realistic. And they come in, and he still makes absolutely no attempt to not be creepy. It's really a fun performance, actually. He tries to drug them, and it doesn't work. And they're like, "Can we see you in your basement?" He says, "No." And they're like, "We could go get a warrant and be back in like 15 minutes. He's like, "Yeah, just try it." And they're like, "We will." It's like, "Yeah, you do it." Like, "We will." And off they go. And they are back in 15 minutes with a warrant. Wow. Well done, German government. That's... I thought they were just, pulling its leg with that 15-minute stuff. But no, they were back pretty quick. So the human centipede manages to get a scalpel, and when Herr Doctor goes back downstairs, he jabs him right in the tootsie, right through the flesh of the foot, and then right in the leg, and then Dr. Heither falls on the floor, and then he bites a chunk out of his neck, and the doc's like, and so the human centipede tries to escape by climbing the stairs. So I would assume if there is an elevator or an alternate way to get upstairs, they would have known about it and used that. So I guess the stairs is... So... Okay. Also, I really would have killed the doctor. I mean, he stabs him in the leg twice and then bites a single chunk out of the side of his neck, but he still had the scalpel. I would have just, slit his throat or jabbed him in the eyeballs or made sure he was dead. I mean, I'm sure you've got some pent-up aggression, man. Go ahead and take it out on him. And like I guessed before I watched the movie, the cops do come back, of course, and they do go, "Oh my gosh!" And Dr. Heither doesn't sneak up behind him and slit his throat or anything because he's already on the floor bleeding. So, in fact, the human centipede and Dr. Heither have a face-off before the cops actually get back, and they're kind of evenly matched because the head of the human centipede is on the floor trying to get out a plate glass door, a sliding door or something, and trying to bash it apart with a lamp. So he's got a lamp about this big solid lamp, and Dr. Heiter, who's on the floor and bleeding out his neck, has a scalpel. So the human centipede puts down this really large piece of lamp and picks up a little bitty piece of glass, about that big, little bitty piece of glass. I'm thinking, dude, you pretty much got the drop on him. Just beat him to death with the damn lamp. But no. He decides to exposition dump his entire backstory. He, abandoned his wife and child, and he has lived a selfish life, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't really care at this point. And then he slits his throat with a little piece of glass, and that's actually the goriest part of the movie right there, where he's slitting his throat. And it's like, what? He's beat him with the lamp, man. The cops are going to be there in 2 minutes. So I was right. The centerpiece lives. The ass end dies from malnutrition. The front end dies from slit throat. Dr. Heither dies from being shot by the police, and he shoots the police, and the two police actually both fall in the pool. So no falling from high places, but two guys did fall in the pool. Dr. Heither slumps against a wall. And the camera just kind of pans out with the human centipede with the head and the tail dead and the girl in the center crying. I'm sure there will be another set of police along in the next half an hour. They seem to be on the ball, so she'll probably be just fine. But no, ripping her lips off the guy's butt. That's disappointing. So that's what I watched for Easter Sunday.